Life is often defined by moments. Some moments fill us with joy, love, and the comfort of family. Others, however, can leave us questioning everything, wondering how things changed so quickly and how we ended up where we are. This is a story of a life that once had everything, but then, in an instant, it all fell apart. The world spins fast, and sometimes, before you even realize it, everything you knew to be true starts to unravel. For someone like Sheikh Hamdan, life once seemed like a fairy tale, wealth, power, and love in abundance. He had everything he could have ever asked for. But, as it often happens in life, things changed. What was once a life of grandeur and comfort suddenly became a life filled with questions, confusion, and heartbreak. It all started with a series of events that seemed trivial at first, but quickly escalated into something much bigger. Sheikh Hamdan had always lived a life that many people could only dream of. He had the best education, a beautiful family, and an empire that spanned countries. His name was known around the world, and for many, he was the epitome of success. But no amount of wealth or status could shield him from the pains of betrayal. He had a partner, someone who he thought he could trust with everything. But as is often the case in life, sometimes those closest to you can be the ones who hurt you the most. This person, who Sheikh Hamdan believed would stand by him through thick and thin, turned out to be the one who would ultimately take everything from him. Sheikh Hamdan had always placed his trust in people. He trusted his family, his advisors, and, above all, his partner. But one day, things began to change. He noticed subtle shifts in the relationship. Small things that didn't seem like much at first. The smiles that used to be so genuine began to feel forced. The promises that were once made with love now seemed empty. The love he had once received so freely began to fade, and it was replaced with indifference. In his mind, he tried to hold on to what they had built. He convinced himself that things would get better, that everything would go back to normal. But deep down, he knew something was wrong. The distance between them grew, and the more he tried to mend it, the further apart they became. And then, the inevitable happened. One day, he came home to find that everything had changed. She had taken everything, his wealth, his connections, his trust. In the blink of an eye, his world came crashing down. The lavish lifestyle he had grown accustomed to vanished. The luxury cars, the sprawling estates, the exotic vacations. Everything was gone. What was left was a sense of emptiness, a feeling of betrayal that ran deeper than anything he had ever experienced. Sheikh Hamdan was left questioning how he had let things go so far. How had he allowed someone to take everything from him? He had worked so hard to build his empire, to create a life filled with love and happiness. But in the end, it all slipped away, and he was left with nothing. As the days passed, Sheikh Hamdan tried to make sense of it all. The people around him were sympathetic, but sympathy only went so far. No one could truly understand the pain he was going through. They couldn't know what it felt like to have everything you've ever worked for ripped away by someone you trusted. He was now forced to face a reality that was far different from the one he had known. For the first time in his life, Sheikh Hamdan was alone. He had no one to turn to, no one to help him rebuild. The family that once supported him was now scattered, their relationship strained by the events that had unfolded. The love he had always taken for granted was now a distant memory, and the security that came with his wealth was nothing more than a fleeting illusion. But even in the darkest of times, there is a glimmer of hope. Sheikh Hamdan, despite everything he had lost, began to reflect on the lessons he had learned. Life had dealt him a cruel hand, but he knew he couldn't let it define him. He had to find a way to move forward, to rebuild his life from the ground up, and that's exactly what he did. With time, patience, and resilience, Sheikh Hamdan began to put the pieces of his life back together. It wasn't easy. There were days when he felt like giving up, when the weight of everything that had happened was too much to bear. But slowly, he began to find his footing. He started reconnecting with the things that mattered most: his passion for helping others, his commitment to his family, and his belief in the power of love. In many ways, this was a turning point in his life. Losing everything made him realize that material wealth was not the true measure of happiness. The real treasures in life were the relationships he had, the moments of joy shared with family and friends, and the love that surrounded him. Though his life had changed forever, he learned to find contentment in the small things, in the things that truly mattered. The story of Sheikh Hamdan is a reminder that life is unpredictable. No matter how much we have, we are never truly safe from loss. But it is also a story of resilience and strength. Even when everything seems lost, we have the ability to rebuild and find happiness once again. It's not about the material things we accumulate in life, but the love and support we give and receive that truly defines us. As for the woman who took everything from him, she may have taken his wealth and his trust, but she could never take his spirit. Sheikh Hamdan's story serves as a reminder that no matter what life throws our way, we have the power to rise above it. We can take the pain, learn from it, and move forward with a stronger sense of who we are and what we want out of life. In the end, Sheikh Hamdan's life may have changed forever, but his journey is far from over. He will continue to grow, to heal, and to rebuild. And as he does, he will carry with him the lessons he learned from his darkest days, knowing that the true treasures of life are not found in wealth or status, but in love, family, and the moments that take.